So, well, hi, good morning,
Hi,
Grace.
Mr.
Good morning.
Kenneth. Good
Hi,
morning.
everybody.
Good morning, dude.
So, next week we're going to start getting into reading plays as well as playwriting. So I want you guys to start getting familiar with basic play structure, basic story structure. Today you're going to have an activity that might include a lot of this, but it's kind of a loose activity when it comes to this format. But basically I want to talk a little bit about this format today, hopefully get it a little bit in your mind or remind you of when you've probably done this in English class. So, looking up here on the board, I've got a basic story format. We've got exposition, which is like background information, setting, backstories, historical context. Then we have an inciting incident. And this is the particular moment when the protagonist, that's like the hero or main character, is thrust into the main action of the story. Then we've got rising action, right, which is a series of relevant incidents that create suspense, interest, and tension in the narrative. Then there's the climax, right at the top, right? And that's the most intense, exciting, or important part of the story. We've got falling action, which occurs after the climax. It's when the main problem is resolving itself. And then finally we have the resolution, right? Which is tying everything together for a nice, happy ending. Who has seen this before in your English class? Good. Absolutely everybody. Or just about absolutely everybody. Right? So you guys are already kind of familiar with this. We're going to go over this stuff next week when we start reading our play. And we're also going to go over this when you guys start writing your plays. But today is just a brief explanation of this because I want you to keep some of these things in mind when you're creating your story today as a group. But like I said, today's group story is going to be a little bit more loose and a little bit more ethereal. So what you guys are going to wind up doing today is you guys are going to talk about nightmares you've had.
Okay.
Has everybody had a nightmare in this class before?
That's why I'm
Right.
like this.
I somehow have a lot of them. And recently, I've been having a lot more. Right? And like some of my nightmares might be, and sometimes I think maybe they're visions of the future. And then I get scared. But some of them might be something like I'm trying to save somebody. Like I remember one, I was trying to save my dad from a gangster who was going to kill him because he owed my dad money. And then we were hiding in closets and then hiding under houses and hiding in bushes. And then the gangster killed my dad. And then he was trying to kill me. And it was frightening. And then often I'll wake up kind of making noise. Has anybody ever done that where you've woken up, you're like, ah! And you've kind of woken yourself up?
Yeah.
Some of you.
Oh, I was in my sleep. I don't know what happened. I woke up and I was laughing. Like, I woke up, what the heck am I laughing about?
Oh, that sounds like a really nice dream. That's never happened to me. You know, I woke up screaming, sometimes woke up, you know, when I was younger,
Or
sweating, yeah, right? And you're like, what the heck is going on?
your heart's
Oh,
pumping so
oh.
fast.
It's okay. It's okay. They're all still alive, or whatever it is. Or I'll wake my girl, I'll be screaming, and my girlfriend will be like, wake up! Wake up! What are you doing? So today in your groups, you're going to share your experiences with nightmares, what happened in your nightmare, and more importantly, how did it make you feel? Each person in the group, I want you to share one particular nightmare story you might have had. And once all the stories have been shared, and you guys will be in groups of 4 or 5, once all those stories have been shared, I want each group to choose one nightmare that you want to then recreate.
Oh.
And try to choose the one nightmare that offers the most options for drama, for creating a story. If you can't decide on a nightmare to go with, or maybe they all seem very short, try to combine 2 or 3 nightmares. That would really feel like a nightmare kind of situation.
Oh, like
right?
Back-to-back kind of nightmare.
Maybe back-to-back.
Episodes of the other episodes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Right? They could be like episodes, or you could try to combine them into one thing. If one person had a nightmare about a bear, and the other person had a nightmare about an alien, Maybe all of a sudden there's an alien and a bear together in your nightmare.
Yes.
So I want you to do your best to recreate the characters and feelings that are conjured up in this nightmare. And try to adapt what could pretty much be a pretty chaotic story. As you guys know, with dreams and nightmares, it's not like they're as formulaic as this, right? Which is why I'm just saying it's kind of loose today, this story format, but try to give it a little bit of format. Try to have exposition, try to have rising action, climax, falling action, and a resolution. I mean, the resolution might just be, oh, it was all a dream. But whatever it might be, try to think about the format, but you don't need to stick to it 100%. Certain things I want you to be thinking about when you're creating this is using movement and sound to help create your story. Right? Movement and sound can definitely help make the story interesting and bizarre. Insane. It could definitely give you that feeling of going crazy, which is kind of what I want to look for in this spooky season right before Halloween. Does anybody have any questions so far?
No.
So basically, recreate one of our nightmares.
Yep. As a group, you guys are going to recreate one of your nightmares. Obviously, use your body however capable you are. And if your nightmare is not in a language that you speak, and remember guys, I am being videotaped. Please take these things seriously for me right now. Yes, Joanna.
Can we talk in it or we don't?
Oh, you can definitely talk in it,
Oh.
but you don't necessarily have to talk in it. There could be sound, there could be talking, or maybe there's not. Question, Jalen? Jaden?
Wow.
I know, I can't believe that.
I know the hair threw you off.
The hair definitely threw me off. That's Jalen hair.
Are there any restrictions? Like, what do you want us not to do?
I don't want sex things happening in your play, of course.
Oh,
That's pretty much the main restriction I have. Ever, Jaden?
No cussing either.
I mean, I can live with cussing today.
Oh.
If it doesn't fit, well, so that's a good question. So maybe there's not enough characters for you to be in this nightmare. Some of you could maybe be providing sound effects in the nightmare. You could just be kind of off in the side of the stage, providing different sound effects. Right? Does that make sense, Jaden? Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Or being part of some movement. And now I'm going to show you the way I'm grading you, your rubric for this assignment. Of course, every block day we've got one of these rubric assignments. I always like doing this. So, only 3 little categories for points: acting, focus, rehearsal, and story. Those are the 4 main things I'm grading you on. Acting, I would love every actor to play a character different from themselves. And if actors play multiple characters, and multiple characters could also be sound effects or part of movement. It could even be a tree, right? You don't have to restrict yourself to always being human in these things. Focus, I want you to stay in character as best you can, staying focused on the task. Once again, rehearsal, always my most important one on these categories. You spend the entire time I give you discussing your nightmares, and then choosing which nightmare you want to do, or multiple nightmares, and then practicing them. And then finally, the story. Does the story have conflict? Does it have a resolution? And most importantly to me, does it seem or feel like a nightmare? And then we'll just go to the lowest category, right, for acting. Some actors never even performed. I heard talking in the wings, breaking character, multiple actors breaking character for focus. Rehearsal, of course, you're seen wandering around, talking to other groups, being very distracted. And then finally, for story, it didn't have conflict or resolution, and it didn't really seem like a dream at all. Of course, Today's story is a lot more subjective than other stories because it is a nightmare. Nightmares don't have to completely make sense and follow the formats. Does anybody have any questions about the rubric? Yes, Joanna?
Can I like take a picture of it?
Oh, you certainly can.
Put it in my head.
Definitely. It's also going to be on your handout that I'm going to give you.
Oh, never mind.
Jaden? Oh, that was your question? So let me just hand you guys the handouts. I'm going to put you guys into groups. Before we do that, though, let me see. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18.
Did you give us enough music?
6, 3 groups of 6. Do I want that?
Did you give us enough music?
I did. I'm going to count you guys off into threes.
How many are there?
3 groups of 6. That seems pretty nice. Or 4 groups of almost 5.
Why don't you just do 3?
Oh, 4 groups of 4 I can do.
That's what I was about to say.
And 2 of them will be 5. That's what I'm going to do. Alright, count you guys off into 4s and 4, 2.
3.
You don't have to videotape them. 3, 4, Christina. And Brandon in the back, you're a 1. Alright. 1s go over there, 2s, 3s, and 4s. You can stop taping. Thank you.